While Gojo Satoru remains one of the most explicit examples of the Honored One due to his direct association with the title, others like Griffith from Berserk, Yoriichi from Demon Slayer, even Atem from Yu-Gi-Oh!, they all represent different dimensions of what being the Honored One means, whether through overwhelming power, transcendence, or thematic weight. However, there is another character whom I think depicts the concept perfectly, a character who transcends time, a soul reborn to change the world. Hao Asakura, the Shaman King, ultimate antagonist. He embodies power, tragedy, charisma, and pride. Hao Asakura is not just the strongest in the world of Shaman King, he's a character who transcends the boundaries of good and evil, embodying the essence of the Honored One, whether through sheer power or presence. But before we dive into the reason why, let's set the stage. Hao is no ordinary antagonist, he's the reincarnated spirit of a shaman who has lived over 1,000 years, with the goal to create a world where only shamans thrive. His story begins a millennium ago. Born as the original shaman prodigy of the Asakura clan, he was a genius unlike any other since birth. His spiritual power allowed him to communicate directly with nature and spirits, and he sought harmony between humans and the natural world, with the goal to protect the balance between them. But humanity's greed and destruction led to his delusionment, thus shattering his idealism. And so, betrayed by the very people he sought to protect, Hao's heart grew heavy, so he vowed to create a world where only shamans could rule by eradicating humanity. His birth name was Asasha. He wandered and lived aimlessly by himself while believing himself to be a demon. One day while sitting by a gate, he met an Oni named Ohachiyo, and they quickly became friends. Ohachiyo gave him the nickname Mappa Doji after noting the similarity between Asasha's name and his mother's name Asanoha. The Oni persuaded Mappa to forget his own vengeance and rather enjoy the aspect of a new life. Ohachiyo told him many things such as fishing, writing, and shamanism. Mappa lived briefly with a smile on his face, but when a guard overheard him speaking with Ohachiyo, he suspected Mappa of being a devil himself and altered Densen. The priest and his men confronted Mappa, but he and Ohachiyo used an oversoul to overpower them. Reading Densen's might, Mappa realized he was his mother's killer, and despite Ohachiyo's protest, he killed him. Overusing the power, Mappa absorbed Ohachiyo's consciousness and his reishi ability. With Ohachiyo's ability, Mappa began spawning Onis wherever he went. In Kyoto, a shaman named Hamono Tadamoto and his apprentice Daitaro discovered him while investigating the Oni. Recognizing Mappa's potential, Tadamoto took him in as an apprentice. During a ritual, Tadamoto used Daitaro, his apprentice, as an experiment to create a visible human Shikigami. The Shikigami was way too powerful even for his master. However, when Tadamoto was killed, the Shikigami vanished, with Mappa using his Oni within him to defeat everybody and absorbing the Shikigami. After the battle over the next 5 years, Mappa's growing skills earned him the title of the Guardian of Kyoto, inspiring the name Asakura Hao. As a gifted shaman, he found the Asakura family. Lonely despite his achievements, Hao often created Onis but controlled them effortlessly. However, his ability to constantly read minds twisted his worldview, deepening his hatred for humanity. When his plans grew darker, the Asakura family turned against him, and after a tragic battle, they executed Hao. However, at some point, Hao performed a ritual called the Taizen Fukon, where he negotiated a contract with Enma Daio, granting him control over his soul and the ability to be reborn at will. Reborn 500 years later as a patch tribe member named Hydro, he eventually became a patch officiant for the next shaman fight. In secret, Hao stole the spirit of fire and traveled the world to recruit shamans for his vision of a shaman empire. He also shared his techniques to strengthen his allies. And after Fra YVS was crowned as the Shaman King, Hao revealed his true identity and turned on the other officiants. He was ultimately defeated by Asakura Yoken and Matamone. After being killed as a patch member 500 years earlier, Hao chose to go back into his original bloodline to grow stronger. His actions were foreseen by Asakura Yomei, who planned to kill him at birth. However, Yomei hesitated when faced with the infant, giving Hao the chance to summon the spirit of fire, which is an insane feat to be born with the spirit you tamed 500 years ago, honestly. Hao attempted to kill Yomei, but his father, Mikihisha, intervened, suffering severe burns. Then he addressed Keiko, thanking her for giving birth to him and warning her to stay still as he didn't want his other half to die before being born, who is none other than Yo Asakura, his twin. Laughing, Hao vanished shortly after. And due to these chains of events, it led to Hao's mastery over spiritual energy extending beyond that. It was unparalleled. Through his unique Omoyoji abilities, Hao developed this power to reincarnate. Each new life gave him the chance to refine his strength and pursue his vision. His bond with the spirit of fire, one of the great spirits, cements his status as the strongest, greatest shaman. With this immense power, he dominated every battlefield, earning the fear and respect of both allies and enemies. His victory over the shaman tournament was already predestined from his first appearance. Even his counterpart twin came to terms with this fact and his overwhelming power. But what makes Hao more than just a villain is his philosophy. He doesn't see himself as evil, he sees himself as a savior. In his eyes, humanity's destructive tendencies have doomed the planet. He views the Shaman King not as a prize, but as a tool to cleanse the earth. He doesn't seek destruction for its own sake, he simply seeks a better world. And we can see this philosophy low-key shining from his twin brother, which makes sense considering Hao Asakura is his other half, which explains why even his companions felt like Hao lacked something deep down in his heart. Even Hao Asakura as a kid, before finding his path, he always thought if he ever became the Shaman King, he would probably eradicate humanity, showcasing his lingering hate to humanity that was shared with his other twin Hao Asakura. His actions challenge us to ask, is his vision truly evil, or is it a tragic response to humanity's failings? From his first duel against Hao Asakura that represents the ideological clash, with Hao representing despair, while Hao embodies hope and faith in humanity's potential, to his final ascension as the Shaman King. Whether it's the sheer power of his technique or the quiet intensity of his wisdom, Hao commands every scene he's in. His ability to read minds gives him the overwhelming advantage in combat, and his mastery over the spirit of fire makes him nearly invincible. But his most terrifying feat comes at the climax of the series, where he merges with the Great Spirit itself as the Shaman King. Hao attains omnipotence, capable of reshaping reality according to his will. But let's not forget, beneath all this overwhelming power lies a deeply human tragedy. You see, Hao's hatred for humanity stems from not malice but from pain. His mother, the one person who showed him unconditional love, was killed by the fearful humans. This loss shaped his worldview, turning his love to the world into a desperate need to control it. In truth, Hao's deepest desire was never domination, it was to feel understood, and I think that explains the irony of him having a twin was for that sole purpose. His deep desire to not be alone, to be understood. Just like Gojo Satoru, even though he had many companions all those years, Hao was always on his own realm to the very end, until he came to terms with that solitude, granting him the ascension to be the honored one. Feeling understood and embraced by his own twin brother, who is his other half essentially, that was supposed to be one with him again. Which makes sense that because of his original internal issue, Hao was split into two twins, and that marks his true awakening as the honored one during his possession of the Shaman King throne. And thus, even to the very end, Hao never took a real loss. In fact, his change of heart in the end granted the cast the win in the final showdown. Hao's redemption is a reminder that even the most broken souls can find peace. His legacy as the honored one endures both as a symbol of power and a testament to the complexity of the human spirit. His loneliness, spanning centuries, makes him one of the greatest depictions of the honored one. With that being said, what do you think of Hao Asakura? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives like these and power scaling content in general. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there. Peace.